Which country makes the best saw blade? This time we'll be testing really round countries, interestingly shaped countries, and countries that we think will just be downright dangerous. Let's start with Poland. We all know their cooking is a little questionable. Looking at you, chicken jello, that's disgusting. But because of its perfect shape, it might just cook straight through this wood. Poland mentioned, here we go, 3, 2, 1. Very nicely balanced. Oh boy, that was quick. Because they're balanced, I can speed it all the way up. So even though there's only one tooth hitting, it's still better. The cut quality was okay, but not great. And the Discord says, out of 10. All right, let's see Poland. Oh, a little bit there. It only took 7 seconds to cut through, but it got a cut score of 3.5 and a coolness factor of 5.7 for a total of 6.3. That puts it in 17th place right behind the star. Not bad for having only 1 point of contact. We've got some crazy countries to test, like Croatia the boomerang, Norway the broomstick, and Vietnam that's literally shaped like a hatchet. We'll test each blade and give them a score based on their cut quality, cut speed, and coolness factor to find out which country is the #1 saw blade. Let's do Turkey next.
Oh, I'm hungry.
Oh yeah, just wait till Hungary. All right, here comes Turkey. Me on Thanksgiving like. All right, sorry for that terrible joke. Here we go, full speed. Oh yeah. All right, so balancing the saw blades was definitely the better idea. Okay, Turkey is a strange shape, kind of a big rectangle, but it does have some good contact, and we can see the quality of the cut is pretty dang good. Discord gives it a out of 10. Okay, the eastern side making contact, the western side just a couple millimeters above it. It's got a nice shape right there that's making contact. It's kind of sharp, so it's taking out some big chunks every time. That allowed it to cut through in a lightning fast 4 seconds, got a cut score of 5.2, a coolness factor of 5.4, for a grand total of 7.5. Very nice. Last time I made these country saw blades, I had to download a file of the country shape, convert it to AutoCAD, manually reduce the amount of points it had so the Waterjet software could handle it, and then convert it again. So each country saw blade took about 30 minutes to make. This time, Bentley used his AI girlfriend and coding skills to make a program that does all those steps for me and spits out the perfect file. This is how long each country saw blade takes now. Hit the button, Bentley. Oh, they're showing up. This is peak computer engineering. It's doing the work for us. Last time I centered the countries so that they would have the most points of contact, but that was kind of dumb and you guys thought so too. So this time we put the mounting hole right in the center of mass. With the countries all balanced out, they can spin a lot faster, and that should make up for the lack of teeth making contact and prevent me from dying. Once the files were ready, we just threw them onto a large Marge, our trusty 60,000 PSI Waterjet, and had them cut out of a sheet of steel. Now these saw blades are ready to go. Italy, wow. Yeah, we took off Sicily because we hate Sicilians.
Which one are you thinking?
Let's do a sketchy one like Norway. Norway's gonna be a good one, I think, because it's got this big heavy bottom part and a really thin part here. This is gonna be really sketchy. Hopefully this doesn't bend and break. For all you single fellas, if you wanna have a good time, set your Tinder to Oslo, Norway. It's overpowered. The Vikings stole all the beautiful women. Oh no, oh it broke. Let's keep going. Well, that's a first. It broke. Please tell me we got that on slow-mo. Oh yeah, it's right here. I maybe could have reinforced that more, but
did not finish.
Disqualified. Did I ever tell you the sad story of Darth Norway the Wise? Sorry, I just watched that in theaters. Norway split in two. It was a little too thin through here. It has one too many fjords right there, I guess. The cut was doing okay. There was a lot of destruction going on. Norway gives it a... Discord gives it a out of 10. The northern side making contact. Oh, it's already really bent, I think. Oh yeah, that's not looking good. Oh, you can see it bend more with each rotation. As it digs out the wood, it slows itself down and just bends even more. The suspense is killing me. When's it gonna break? Wow, it's almost a 90-degree angle now. That's gotta go soon. There's wood flying everywhere. Oh, there it goes. Wow. Oh, you see it lodge itself into the saw for a second, and it stays there. There's chunks of plastic from the saw flying everywhere. We're lucky it got stuck right there and just fell down, because that could have been bad if it went somewhere else. All right, that's enough countries breaking on me for the next 10 minutes. So let's go with a little more round thing. This is Sierra Leone, the mathematically roundest country. Shout out to the guy who put the photo of the roundest countries in our Discord. My thighs are gonna get burned. Here's a fun fact about Sierra Leone. A friend of mine lived in Sierra Leone and had his iPod plugged into the wall and there was a power surge and it blew up his iPod Touch. That's not very balanced. Why not? I'm surprised how bad this is doing. It should be more balanced. Is it cut yet? Come on. Oh, that was scary. Yeah, it wasn't balanced. I don't know why. Sierra Leone was our most round country, and it was kind of a letdown, honestly. I thought it would be better, but it looks like there just weren't any good teeth to cut through the wood, so that's why it took a little longer. The cut quality was pretty good, though. There was no burning, there was some tear out, but it wasn't too bad. Discord gives it up out of 10. Ooh, there's a decent chunk. Okay, so it looks like nothing is hitting except for that one part, and it's not really a good shape for digging wood out. It took a long time at 23 seconds and got a cut score of 4.4 with a coolness factor of 5.4 for a grand total of 5.5. That ties it with France in 23rd place. All right, we did our most circular country. Let's do our most square country, Egypt. I bought a property in Egypt, and what they do for you is they give you the property.
Do you want to explain why we're cutting them with this orientation?
We got a lot of comments on the last video saying that a lot of the countries, these countries would do better if we flipped them around. We didn't because that would make it unfair. We do it in the orientation that it appears on the map, and that's showbiz, baby. One thing I know about Egypt is that the government hates tourists and will take your cameras away. Oh, but then the YouTuber Best Ever Food Review Show kind of exposed them, and apparently they loosened up. Anyways, okay, that's balanced. I don't know what happened to Sierra Leone. When it's balanced, it's so much better.
That was really good.
Yeah, that was solid. I can already tell it looks good. It looks like there was really only one part. Well, maybe this part was touching too, but mainly this southeastern corner was doing most of the work. The cut quality was not super good, but at least it didn't burn. Discord gives it up out of 10. The southeastern side making contact first, and looks like that's the only part making contact. However, its sharp angular corner is quite good at digging out the wood. That makes it cut quickly at 4 seconds, but its cut score is 3.9, with a coolness factor of 5.9 for a grand total of 6.8.
What's that one?
Vietnam. I never realized how crazy of a shape Vietnam was. I mean, you hear all the, Vietnam War jokes, but you rarely look at Vietnam on a map. Get in there. There we go. Why are the trees speaking Vietnamese? Gotta go a little slower because it's sketchy. Okay, that was good. I mean, Vietnam is basically an axe shape if you look at it. It definitely bent. You can see the metal is bunched up right here and stretched out right there, which means it bent. And if you look at it this direction, it is curved. Everyone's got a little curve. The cut quality was pretty decent, pretty smooth and no burning. Discord gives it a out of 10. All right, Vietnam, will it be the big cutting head or the slender side? Ooh, looks like the southern side. Makes sense because the top is a big counterbalance. And oh, that's a lot of wood each time it's passing by. Looks like Vietnam is really violent. That gives it a cut time of 7 seconds, a cut score of 6.1, a coolness factor of 7.1 for a grand total of 7.9. All right, I'm thinking South Korea. This is kind of a crazy shape. It's got a big tooth there. It might be touching in both places here. Okay, so this is the border with North Korea. This is the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. If you wanna have a good time, go here. This one's for my boys in, what's that band called? BTS. This is for my boys in BTS and all my BTS enjoyers. Balanced. Nice. What a treat that was. South Korea had one tooth here on the southern side doing a lot of work, and it's a good thing they got this little section in the Korean War because that was helping out as well. Good job, you guys. The cut quality is pretty rough, but there wasn't any burning, so it gets up out of 10. All right, let's see South Korea. Ooh, okay, good contact right there on the southern point. It's pretty sharp too, so it's doing a good job. That jagged coastline is really helping out. It only took 6 seconds to cut through, got a cut score of 4.2 with a coolness factor of 6.3 for a grand total of 6.8. All right, we obviously have to do North Korea next. Here's a cool fact for you guys. Kim Jong-un doesn't poop or pee. His body perfectly uses all the food and water, and he has no waste. Please don't launch your intercontinental ballistic missiles at me for making those jokes. Not too bad. That was a little slower than the others we've had. To get the cut quality score, we uploaded a photo to our Discord with no label so people would not be biased and they would vote on the quality of the cut. North Korea is another country with only one part doing most of the work. Fortunately, it is somewhat tooth-shaped. That gives it a fairly smooth surface, but there was a decent amount of burning. Survey says, let's see if North Korea can beat its southern neighbors. All right, looks like its northeastern corner is what's making contact. Unfortunately, it's not hitting the part that would be good at digging out wood. However, it didn't do too bad with a cut time of 8 seconds, a cut score of 4.2, a coolness of 5.6 for a total of 6.7, losing to South Korea by 0.1 point because it was 2 seconds slower than South Korea. Interesting.
So many options. Oh, it's Mr. Beast.
I think it's time for some redemption for the single, ooh, that's hot. The single tooth saw blade, you can see it here. It is now part of our weights. It was too big. I'm a dunderhead, didn't check the file size.
Is it balanced?
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Ethiopia.
Just like nobody knows what on earth would happen if I didn't segue to today's sponsor.
LTTstore.com. The LTT screwdriver is the ultimate ratcheting screwdriver for PC building. It's fine-tuned to have an extremely light back force. I mean, look at this. Oh, I accidentally dropped it. That's a Linus move right there. Wow, look at that diamond cut knurling. That stuff is beautiful. Inside the handle is a convenient bit storage designed in partnership with Mega Pro. And the color scheme here is fantastic. It can fit up to 12 22mm bits or 6 42mm bits. Inside the shaft is a 5.4 Newton force magnet. That makes sure you'll never lose any bits, and you can pick up screws with it. Let's try this huge screw. Holy moly, that's insane.
Whoa!
That's wild. Oh, it even sticks up here. It comes with 12 rust-resistant bits, so you'll always have the one you need. They thought of everything.
Yeah, Linus really is. Oh, POV, I'm Linus.
It has a 3-lobed handle design, so it fits comfortably in your hand.
Hey, what are you doing to my computer?
I'm stealing your nothing. Not nothing. So click the link in the description and get yours today. Ethiopia. It's doing great. Maybe a little slow. Come on. Very nice. Smoky?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's blowing out that way.
Oh yeah, I can see how burnt it is. Ouch, that's hot. Ethiopia is the redemption for the single tooth saw blade. This is a really good tooth shape right here. That gives it a fairly smooth surface, but it did burn a decent amount. I'm surprised by that. And it looks like it touched a little bit here on the western side. That gives it a out of 10. Okay, Ethiopia is another single big tooth. Oh, it just barely makes contact the first time around. This is definitely a country that would benefit from being switched around. But rules are rules, and I can't change them. Looks like it's just slowly chipping away, and that's why it took 12 seconds to cut through. It got a cut score of 3.3 with a coolness factor of 5.7 for a total of 5.9. All right, I'm feeling a little crazy. Japan. We're missing Sapporo up here and a couple islands down here.
But we're missing a couple naval ships.
So it's even.
Oh my gosh, bro. What?
Oh, what?
It busted a hole.
What went through there? I've been finding little pieces of plastic. That's probably from Norway. Is this metal?
Whatever Harbor Freight could do at their cheapest.
Yeah, whatever the cheapest form of metal that isn't aluminum is. Here's a fun fact about Japan. They don't steal anything. Like, there's a video of a guy leaving his MacBook in a Starbucks for like 5 hours and no one steals it. Japanese are good people. Something, katanas, samurais, not going too quickly here. A lot of wood flying off. Okay, there we go. I learned from the Wolverine movie that Japan is a long country, not a wide one. Looks like the southern part was cutting the most. This is just the main island, by the way. There are a couple more islands above and below it. But this southern part was doing most of the work, it looks like. There's a little bit of burning here at the top. The cut quality looks pretty good, but there is a lot of tear out. So that gives it a out of 10. Ooh, the southern side making a very light contact, the northern side hovering about an inch above it. Cut through in a respectable 10 seconds with a cut score of 5.3 with a coolness factor of 7.6 for a grand total of 7.3. Oh, I'm lightheaded, holy crap. My breakfast was frosted mini wheats, but the off-brand. Let's do Switzerland. You know, Swiss Army knife, those cut. So why doesn't the whole country cut? If I'm not mistaken, it's required by law to own a rifle in Switzerland and use it regularly. I think it's like once a month you have to go to the range. Nice. Going okay. Getting a little smoky. Nice. Switzerland once again showing us how efficient they are. Using both sides of the country, it looks like it might be this one a little more heavily. There is a good amount of burning on the cut and some tear out, but not too bad overall. That gives it a out of 10. All right, let's see Switzerland. Ooh, the western side makes contact. Let's see, that's a pretty good sawtooth shape, but not great because it took 10 seconds to cut through, got a cut score of 3.2, a coolness factor of 6.8 for a grand total of 6. That puts it in 26th place, right below the 3-spoke.
Man, that one looks crazy. I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, I think we gotta save Croatia for later though.
Yeah.
Got a retention bait on that one. Let's go with Italy. This one's kind of crazy. We removed Sicily because we hate Sicilians.
Let's see how balanced it is.
Dang,
wow.
that software worked its wonders.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Pizza, spaghetti.
Gelato.
Scuderia Ferrari. Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc. Coming around.
Oh, I wish he was.
Bombodilo Crocodrillo. Bombini Guccini. Galileo Galilei. Oh man, this is going quite slow and causing quite the burning. Sorry, neighbors. At least it smells good. Oh yeah. Spicy meatball. I think Italy is one of my favorite ones because it has the big boot shape and it's counterbalanced by this up here, meaning the boot is just kicking its way through the wood. The cut quality looks pretty on par with the rest with a little more burning than average for a grand total of out of 10. Oh, Italy taking tiny shavings off. It looks like the toe of the boot is what's doing the work. Yeah, the heel's not touching. That's why it took so long at 17 seconds and only got a cut score of 3.3. However, a coolness factor of 7.6 for a grand total of 5.7. Do you have a can of Diet Coke, perchance? Here we go, North Sentinel Island. This is the island of a tribe of uncontacted people. This is where that Christian missionary tried to go and he got shot by arrows. This is a small island kind of by India. It's owned by India, and apparently a YouTuber went and left a can of Diet Coke on their shore. He got arrested in India. All right, Pirates of the Caribbean 2, here we go. What? The saw is tweaking right now. It was like really hard to rotate. Ugh, yeah, what is going on? Take 2. Wait, why isn't it going? Did we blow a breaker? It was just going and then it turned off. Oh, we blew the fuse in the variac. I don't really know why. It was kind of resistant. Yeah, we got a surge protector. That should be good enough. Gives me a switch I can flip. It's going real slow. How's it not done yet? There's a ton of smoke right there. North Sentinel Island continues to be deadly by cutting its way through the wood in multiple places. I tried to avoid knots with most of them to keep things fair. Looks like I didn't notice a knot here on this one. So this one had an extra hard task because that's where most of the burning is coming from. It was also pretty violent along the top here. That gives it a grand total of out of 10. Let's see if North Sentinel Island is as dangerous as its inhabitants. Okay, that little tooth is what's making contact, but it's facing the wrong way, so it's just the slightest amount of wood that gets removed each time. Another one that would benefit from being flipped around, but as is, it took 46 seconds to cut, got a cut score of 3.6, a coolness of 5.9, for a total of 3.4. Not very good. Finland! The other day we're playing Minecraft on our server. You can join us, link to our Discord's in the description. And this lad from Finland joins. He starts telling us about Finland. Told us how Sweden's trying to steal an island from them. They have a national sauna competition, 200 degrees Fahrenheit in there. It's like a sauna in here. All right, Finland did pretty well. Finland looks like another one of those countries that's got a dangerous part and a counterweight. That made it pretty effective, and its cut quality is pretty good. There's a good amount of tear out, but no burning. That gives it a grand total of out of 10. Oh, the northern side making the first contact. Looks like the southern side is about a ½ inch above the wood. It has a nice little sharp point, and that's what's doing all the work here. It took 9 seconds to cut through the wood, got a cut score of 4.4, a coolness factor of 6.5, for a grand total of 6.7. That puts it right between North and South Korea. Not somewhere you want to be. Why do you say we do Hungary? This is for Archduke Franz Ferdinand II. Okay, that's going well. Coming loose, seems like. Just like me on the dance floor. All right, that wasn't too bad. Hungary is a pretty solid shape. It's got contact on both sides, looks like a little more on the eastern side, but the cut quality is pretty rough. I'm seeing a lot of tear out and a little bit of burning. That gives it a grand total of out of 10. The northeast corner makes contact and nothing else does, which is unfortunate because that is pretty round. So it took 14 seconds to cut through, got a measly 2.8 on the cut score, a coolness factor of 5.7, for a total of 5.4. I think we go with Ireland. Ireland. This is another one with the potential to kill someone. In fact, I could probably bend that with my bare hands, just like I did Chile. Yeah, this is for all you people that called me Booger Man.
They probably all live on that part of the country.
Yeah, freak you guys. I hope you got wrecked during the war between Ireland and Northern Ireland, and the Irish potato famine. But everyone else in Ireland, you're okay. Just the people that said mean things about me. This one's for St. Patrick. It's gonna break, huh? Oh boy, it's not going fast at all. Oh yeah, it just broke. It started cutting better once it...
Oh, here it is, here it is.
Oh.
I'm afraid to touch it though. Right here. It's burning me. Oh!
Look how bent that got. Well, with great remorse, I tell you that Ireland did not finish. We could probably go through the rest of the wood, but it would be unfair to Norway. Okay, so the northern part is what's hitting, which is dangerous because it's just barely connected on there. The wood is smoking pretty heavily, so we can see why it blew up, but because the slow-mo camera can only record 7 seconds because that's like 150 gigabytes, we missed the actual explosion. All right, let's calm things down a little with Vatican City.
Don't let JD Vance go there.
I think this is technically the smallest country in the world. It's a city-state, so it's not very big. This right here is like literally a building. Like that's the scale we're talking about here. I think this is I think it's a cathedral, don't quote me on that. If I'm not mistaken, Vatican City has the most exclusive passport in the world. This one's for Pope Francis, rest in peace. Wow! What the Catholics lack in size, they make up for in efficiency. Holy moly. Vatican City was a great shaped, very circular and balanced, and a big tooth sticking out. That made it really efficient. The cut quality, however, did suffer a little bit. That's just gonna happen when you've only got one point of contact. It zoomed. I think this might have been our fastest one. That gives it a cut score quality of out of 10. Oh yeah, a nice big chunk from that western side. It's just the perfect sawtooth shape. Ooh, and a massive impact there. And there's even part of the wood it didn't cut through yet. That must mean it hit really hard to send it flying before it was all the way cut. That gives it a blistering cut time of only 2 seconds, but a cut score of 3.9 and a coolness factor of 5.4 for a grand total of 6.8. Not too bad. What if we go with Ghana? This one's an interesting shape, kind of just a rectangle, but it does have a big tooth that'll probably be doing all the work. Kind of looks like Chad from the last video. Side-by-side comparison. This one's for John M. Ghana. He was a real one, but he's a Ghana. All right, sorry. All right, that was quick. Another very efficient country. Ghana looked like it was a well-balanced country. It has 3 points of contact, it looks like here, and this one is a pretty nice tooth shape. The cut quality isn't the best I've ever seen, so it gets a out of 10. And the northwest corner is what makes contact. Oh, the southwest corner too, the little chin shape. And that's perfect because it's a really sharp tooth. That gives it a cut time of 5 seconds, a cut score of 4.7, a coolness factor of 4.8 for a grand total of 7.1. I think we go with Antarctica. Not technically a country. Several countries have claimed land here, but it's its own continent. And it's rather round with a big old tooth. Here's a fun fact about Antarctica. It like doubles in size every winter from all the ice. I think this is it in the summer. This is like as small as it ever gets. This is the permafrost state. That's a Bloons TD6 reference for all you ice monkey heads. Oh, wow. That was quick. That might be our new winner. Antarctica is sick. It's about as good as a country shape can get. There's no burning here, but there is a good amount of tear out due to the one tooth problem. You've heard of the 3-body problem. Now there's the 1-tooth problem. That's a joke for all you astrophysicists out there. That gives it a out of 10. I think we all knew Antarctica's tail would be doing most of the work here. So this pretty much confirms that, and you can see it taking big chunks each time it makes a rotation. It cut through in a blistering 3 seconds, got a cut score of 3.9 and a coolness factor of 7.8 for a total of 7. All right, I think it's only fair that we do Zimbabwe next because it's almost the same shape as Antarctica. I think Zimbabwe is the country that had insane inflation, and so they have like trillion-dollar bills and such. I've seen one in real life. It was an experience. It's probably worth like $4. Wow, that was almost as good as Antarctica. Maybe like a half second slower, maybe a second. Zimbabwe is basically the same shape as Antarctica, but you can see there's a pretty big difference in the cut quality. I think because Antarctica has a sharper tooth, it doesn't mush the wood around as much. I don't know what the real term for that is, but you can see the wood is kind of getting like squished to the side here. Rather than being cut, it's getting pushed out of the way. And there's some really deep pockets from tear out. That was a nice sound effect. Yeah. That gives it a out of 10. Let's see how it does. Ooh, that's a nice first contact. Taking out a big chunk with every pass. This is like Ethiopia's redemption. Basically the same shape, only reversed, and it's doing a great job. That means it cut through in a whopping 3 seconds. However, its cut score was only 2.3. With a coolness factor of 5.5, that gives it a total of 5.9. Ah, man, so many good choices still. Should we go crazy with Panama? Whoa, Panama is wild. Panama Canal is probably like right here. Thank you, Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know if he's the one who did that. I think he is. Panama! It's a reference for all you 80s hard rock fans. Nice, that was quick. Panama is a great shape for a saw blade if you think about it. I mean, big tooth right there making contact, big teeth right there making contact. Heck yeah. This one looked really cool in the iPhone footage. And on top of that, it looks like it had some good points of contact on either side. This is a nice tooth shape. The cut quality is looking pretty good. It does look like it's doing the same thing as Zimbabwe where it kind of pushes it out of the way. That gives it a out of 10. The western side just barely missing, and the eastern side making contact. Ooh, that's a big chunk from the eastern side. The western side kind of just barely, probably just kind of moving the wood out of the way that's already kind of been lifted up. Wow, those impacts are huge on the eastern side. Those big impacts let it cut through in 5 seconds. However, the violence made it a 3.9 on the cut score, but a coolness factor of 7.9 for a grand total of 6.9. Very nice. Let's go with another round one. Uruguay.
Okay, so while I was living in Brazil, it was really close to Uruguay.
Okay.
And they would always say, dude, you gotta go to Uruguay for the cheap goods.
Heck
so
yeah.
even the Brazilians were saying that the cheap goods are in Uruguay.
That's how you know they're cheap. Come on, Uruguay! Oh, shoot. That got a little scary. Uh-oh. It's stuck on there. Look how munched it got.
You're a munch.
No. It's kind of hard to tell what's going to touch. It's kind of hard to tell which part of the country is going to hit the wood. So that's why I like this part. You can see that this was making really good contact on Uruguay, the northern corner here. And the southern part was getting a little bit of contact, but not too much. That gave it a pretty rough cut quality, a good amount of tear out, and a little bit of burning for a grand total of out of 10. Looks like nothing's really close except the northern side. There's a big contact, takes out a big chunk of wood. And again the second time. Uruguay really showing some efficiency here. That's why it gets a cut time of 6 seconds, but a bad cut score of 2.6, a coolness factor of 5, for a grand total of 5.7. I'm thinking we do Djibouti. I love Djibouti. This is a tiny country in Africa. Maybe you've never heard of it, but the name sure is silly. Kind of off balance. Oh boy. I think that's the first time we've had him do that. Djibouti is bouncing. How far is it? Oh shoot. It flung the wood off. Oh man, look at that. Here, I'm gonna remount it and try again. Take two. There we go. You did it, Djibouti.
Djibouti's smoking hot.
I'll say. Looks like Djibouti had 2 good points of contact here. Sounds about right. I'll show you 2 good points of contact. The cut quality is pretty decent, but there are some deep pockets of tear out and a fair amount of burning. That gives it a out of 10. Djibouti getting after it. Okay, looks like its northern part is the point of contact, but the wood is flying up and down. I think that's because Djibouti was kind of unbalanced. But it might have just been a poor clamping job and we couldn't tell until watching the slow-mo. And it's like 3 days later, so I can't really go out and fix it. Djibouti took the longest at 41 seconds, got a cut score of only 1.8, but a coolness factor of 6.9, which is pretty nice, for a grand total of 2.9. We have Luxembourg here. Luxuryburg, I should say. This was, according to my 2007 records book, the richest country per capita. Ty Lopez gave his TEDx talk, by the way. He gave it in Luxembourg. Okay, it's going well, nice. Luxembourg putting up an impressive time. Very nice. Luxembourg did pretty decent. Got a good amount of contact up here, but it's not a very sharp shape, so that slowed it down. However, the quality is pretty good. There's hardly any tear out and there's no burning. Nice job, you guys. That gives it a out of 10.
I'm subbing in for Daniel here. Looks like Luxembourg is cutting wood. That is so awesome. It took 6 seconds to cut with a cut score of 4.7 and a coolness score of 6.3, bringing it to a total of 7. That puts it in 19th place, just below Antarctica.
Which one, Daniel?
So hard to choose. Oh, I'm gonna pass out. Thank you. That makes me feel better. What is this? Mongolia. Oh, Mongols. Paint green fans will love this one. Holy crap. The spirit of Genghis Khan is trying to make me pass out. It's very harsh environment. That's why your boy Genghis Khan conquered like everything, because he grew up in the hood, essentially. I better not see any comments saying, it's pronounced Genghis Khan. You're a nerd. Okay, kind of slow, but it's making its progress. All right, whoa. An explosive finish. It launched it like 20 feet. Here's the saw. Oh. There is the wood. It's like 20 feet. Shimang on my old Talaia. Mongolia just kind of looks like a good all-around saw blade. It's a good shape here with 2 teeth on either side making good contact. That gives it a nice smooth cut with just a little burning. That gives it a rating of out of 10. All right, which side is that touching? I forgot which way it's oriented. I think that's the western side doing most of the work. And it takes out a decent amount of wood with each pass. So it took 11 seconds, got a cut score of 4.3, a coolness of 5.9 for a total of 6.4. Let's stick with the M thing. Go with Madagascar. Madahuha? Gascar, not Uha, Gascar.
What is that from? The Madagascar movies?
Yep. I think the only thing anyone in the United States knows about Madagascar is that that movie is based on it.
And they like to move it.
That's true. Good point, Bentley. This one's for King Julian and my boy Rico. Doing great so far. There's some smoking. Surprised it's not done yet. There we go. Not too bad, Madagascar. Not great, but not bad. Looks like Madagascar has a nice big sawtooth shape up here. It's even got, kind of hard to see, but there's a little tiny piece that bent, and it looks like that's what was doing the majority of the work. The cut quality is pretty smooth, a little bit of tear out, and a little bit of burning. That gives it a out of 10. The northern side, okay, which is good because it's the sharper side, and it has that little tiny tooth. It's taken out a decent amount of wood each rotation, which is solid. However, I think because that tooth is so small, it took 14 seconds to cut through, got a cut score of 4.6, a coolness of 6.1 for a total of 6.5. Ah, yes, Sweden. I'm pretty sure I am mostly Swedish, like 28%. I'm a real mutt. You can tell because I have a great Swedish accent and I love Swedish fish. This one's for my surströmming enjoyers. All right, but did a lot better than Norway, so that solves the rivalry between the Scandinavian countries. Sweden looks like the southern half was doing most of the work. It even got a little anodized. It's turning a little bit blue at the very tip there. The northern half did get a little bit of action, it would seem. So it's a fairly smooth cut with no burning. Yeah, that gives it a out of 10. The southern half not touching. Oh, the northern half getting just a tiny bit there. And a decent chunk that time. That is a great sawtooth shape. That geometry really helped, and it only took 5 seconds to cut through. Got a cut score of 5.8, a coolness factor of 6.4 for a grand total of 7.8. That puts it high in the rankings in 10th place. Oh, what have we here? Peru, how could I forget? Sits like that on the western coast of South America. They call spicy things ají, I'm pretty sure. Machu Picchu. There must be no sharp edges, because it is causing quite the smoke fest. Ugh, that was strange. It also threw the wood 10 feet away. Peru looks like it had a rough time. The southern part was doing most of the work. These two corners got a little bit of action, but there was a lot of burning, surprisingly little tear out. But it has kind of this like stair step effect going on here. That might have just been because the arbor bolt was loose. Out of 10. Oh, the southern side gets a little bit there. Nothing else touches, okay. Oh, and the southern side takes a big chunk out. That was violent. It makes really good contact, but it's just not sharp at all. So that made it take 38 seconds to cut through. And it only got a cut score of 3.2. A coolness factor of 5.9 for a grand total of 3.8. That puts it in 55th place, right below the trapezoid. I think next we go with Jamaica. Jamaica de Coraceman. That's what everyone in Jamaica thinks after they hear that joke for the millionth time. This one's for Cool Runnings. Jamaica, we have a bobsled team. Going well, making good progress. Nice. That was quick. Jamaica looks like another well-balanced country. However, it looks like the East Coast was doing most of the work. Luckily, it is a nice tooth shape. It was fairly smooth in some parts, but there's some good tear out in other parts, but only the slightest bit of burning. So pretty good. That gives it a out of 10. Okay, Jamaica, show us what you got. Oh, the eastern side is a nice little sharp point and it's making good contact. That's perfect. It's taking out big chunks with each rotation. So it only took 5 seconds to cut through, got a cut score of 4, with a coolness factor of 6.3 for a grand total of 6.8. Which one is this? Oh, it's Georgia.
That's a state.
Yep, that's all I have to say about that. It's right next to Armenia. I get my peaches out from Georgia. Just thought it would be funny to confuse the Americans with this one, myself included. Not going too fast, but it's not too violent, so it's pretty smooth. There we go. Not the fastest country, but not the worst one either. Georgia seems to be another country where one side is doing most of the work. This causes a good amount of burning, but very little tear out, surprisingly. That gives it a grand total of out of 10. Okay, here comes Georgia, and the northwest side is what's making contact. The other side is about a ½ inch above the wood. It's a pretty rounded shape, so it took 25 seconds to cut. Got a cut score of 3.1, a coolness factor of 6.1 for a grand total of 4.6. Second to last is Colombia.
Pretty cool shape there.
I dated a girl from Colombia, but by the time this airs, I will be married to not her. Shakira. Wow! Holy crap!
Wait, did that actually go through? Holy crap, that was like a real saw blade.
Yeah, that was crazy. Colombia was a very solid shape. Some good teeth sticking out here on both sides. They both made pretty good contact. You can see some damage on them, but it's a very smooth cut with no burning. That gives it a out of 10. Okay, Colombia has some nasty teeth. Ooh, that's a big impact. Sending shards of shrapnel everywhere. And it looks like that's the only side that's hitting, and it's taking out huge chunks of wood every time it passes. Colombia was tied for the fastest at a crazy 2 seconds, but it had a lower cut score of only 3.4. With a coolness factor of 6, that gives it a grand total of 6.6. Okay, our final country, Croatia. Kind of a weird shape. There's kind of a bunch of countries around there. They should just combine them all into one. I don't know why they don't.
That's the Russian philosophy.
It's pretty balanced. It's cutting, not super fast, but it's doing okay. Getting loose. All right, that's all. It looks like this southern part was doing most of the damage, and you can see it's kind of bent. It's floating off the table a little bit, but it was a pretty violent cut. There's a lot of tear out, but no burning. Croatia gets a out of 10. Okay, looks like the southern coastline is what's making contact, and it's taking out just a little bit at a time. It took 9 seconds to cut through the wood, got a cut score of 2.3, but our highest coolness factor of 8.7 for a grand total of 5.8. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
I'm gonna need some new LTT underwear after that.